our side was that we are very close to an agreement. I mean, we have been negotiating this agreement in principles for weeks, and I think that we've been almost there. And the EU, as you know very well, never walks away without genuine effort, especially considering the hard work invested, how close we find ourselves to making a deal, and the clear benefits of the negotiated. Of course, there have been some sectoral issues upon which we've been negotiating. So my sense was we are approaching, the good outcome for both sides. I appreciate, though, that I was getting the heads up.
What if I told you a single tariff could bring Boeing to its knees, cost the U.S. economy billions, and make Airbus the new king of the skies? This isn't just about planes. It's a domino effect hitting cars, farms, and even bourbon. So, how did Trump's America First plan end up putting America last? Let's find out. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video.
The European Union is talking to us. They want to open up their country.
Today we discussed the state of play and prospects for EU-US trade relations, including possible EU countermeasures. In light of the ongoing negotiations for an agreement in principle, as
we're dealing with other countries and certain countries that would rather have a deal than a regular tariff, and we're willing, if they're willing to open up. These are countries that have been shut to us, but we've been open to them. In other words, they wouldn't let us do business there.
Well as President Trump's announcement over the weekend of 30% general tariffs on the EU from the 1st of August. Which, I must say, member states find absolutely unacceptable and unjustified.
So here's the setup. Back in 2018, Trump rolled out his famous America First strategy, slapping a 25% tariff on aircraft parts imported into the U.S. The idea was simple: bolster homegrown manufacturers like Boeing by making it harder for foreign competitors to operate in the U.S. But instead of giving U.S. aviation a first-class ticket to dominance, this policy somehow handed Airbus a free upgrade and nearly grounded Boeing in the process. You couldn't script a better backfire if you tried. Here's where it gets wild. The European Union didn't waste time sulking or negotiating. Oh no, they hit back hard, ditching Boeing and shifting their orders straight to Airbus. EU governments and airlines rallied behind the local favorite, and suddenly Boeing wasn't just losing contracts, it was hemorrhaging them. Airbus gobbled up approximately $19 billion in fresh orders almost effortlessly.
Plus export restrictions on some chemicals and scrap steel. Last week, the EU threatened around $100 billion worth of counter-tariffs on a raft of American products from Boeing aircraft to bourbon whiskey.
First of all, we stand together. I mean, we're 27 countries, and it's very important that we stand together because our market is bigger than the US market. We are many consumers here on this side.
While Boeing got slammed with $11 billion worth of cancellations. That's not a typo. Trump's protection cost Boeing cash and credibility. Imagine setting up a lemonade stand, and instead of selling lemonade, you scare off so many customers that the stand next door cleans up. The ripple effects were equally brutal. In Europe, Airbus generated 62,000 new working days as part of this economic upturn. Across the Atlantic, close to 48,000 American jobs at Boeing and their suppliers found themselves dangling on a thread. It's like the US brought a shield to protect its economic warriors, but somehow ended up stabbing itself with it. Brutal.
US view of Europe still seems far from friendly.
Just like the European Union is in many ways nastier than China. Okay, and we've just started with them. Oh, they'll come down a lot. You will.
But it's not business as usual. Washington plans to hike tariffs on most EU goods to 20% come July. And despite EU efforts to strike a deal and avoid the rise,
even Wall Street couldn't hide its feelings. Boeing's stock took a nosedive, dropping 5 points, while Airbus's shares in Frankfurt practically sprouted wings, climbing higher. If stocks could laugh, Airbus's would have been howling. All the while, Boeing's board was left doing damage control, watching as investors started eyeing their European rival like it was the next big thing. And the final cherry on top? Airbus didn't just soak up more orders. It reinvested the windfall into research and development, launching plans for next-gen fuel-efficient aircraft. So not only was Boeing losing customers, it was falling even further behind in the innovation game. Oh, but trust me, this mess didn't stop at airplanes. Imagine a policy so clunky that it didn't just hit its target. It hit every industry in sight like an out-of-control wrecking ball. Yep, Trump's 25% tariff on aircraft parts didn't just sink Boeing, it spiraled into a meltdown involving SUVs, soybeans, and even whiskey barrels. Somehow, America's protection plan became open season on its icons. Take the auto industry, for example. General Motors and Ford took gut punches from retaliatory tariffs slapped on American-made cars. GM, which was shipping about 280,000 SUV pickups to Europe annually, faced a projected loss of 40,000 vehicles, as the tariffs made exports painfully expensive. Their engineers scrambled to shift production to Mexico and Brazil, seemingly a clever sidestep. But then, the EU hit them with a 1-2 punch. Any vehicle made in Latin America with too many American parts still got taxed, thanks to stricter origin rules. Oh, and let's not forget rising carbon limits. Moving production overseas went from being Plan B to practically impossible. Ford didn't escape unscathed either, losing a cool $2 billion in European revenue and watching its profit margins slide like butter off a hot pancake. And the chaos didn't stop at cars. Farmers, who had every reason to feel like America's backbone, suddenly found themselves looking like collateral damage in a trade war. Iowa's corn silos, Kansas's wheat barns, and Texas's soybean centers collectively lost an eye-watering €6 billion in potential exports. For the Midwest, this America First policy started smelling a lot like last-place results, and the agricultural lobby was not pleased. Over in Kentucky, bourbon producers were drowning their sorrows, not in their product, ironically, but over it. Europe's tariffs hiked the price per bottle by up to $5, which sharply cut profits and forced distributors to slash sales forecasts. Bourbon, the pride of the South, was getting booted out of European bars faster than a bad cover band. Meanwhile, the energy sector wasn't spared either. Riyadh openly threatened to reroute its oil flow to Asia, while Qatar hiked LNG prices for European buyers. These shifts widened the Brent WTI spread, spelling fresh inflation nightmares for the U.S. Federal Reserve. Even the Pentagon got roped into the mess, as disrupted supply chains jeopardized military logistics for NATO. And yet, while chaos brewed across industries, Airbus sat back, cashed in, and plowed its winnings into cutting-edge innovation, leaving Boeing eating its jet fuel dust. Trump's big America First experiment to protect Boeing didn't just trip, it face-planted, handing Airbus the keys to the cockpit along the way. While Boeing stumbled with cancellations and cutbacks, Airbus didn't just cash in on orders, it got a head start on the future. Europe's carbon scoring system, set to tighten by 2026, gives Airbus another edge with their cleaner energy grid. Boeing, still tied to fossil fuel-heavy systems. So, what's the real price of protectionism? Billions lost, jobs at risk, and an empty promise of global influence. In the end, this was less policy and more self-inflicted turbulence.